it dropped, and I don't know, but I didn't see it. So anyways,
So you lost your wallet at the movies?
No, I had my wallet. I was about to pay for our popcorn. Extra large for refills. We didn't even get a refill. Literally my first question, do you have it with refills? That's my mentality. But we didn't even use the refills. Oh, but it was good. Anyways, let's get into it. All right, we're going to pray first. Okay. And then we'll do that. Okay. I need to get a table right here for the coffees, because that used to be right here, but now it's not. All right, anyways, let's pray. Father God, thank you, Lord. Thank you for this moment, Lord. Thank you for bringing some of my bestest friends into this room, Father God. I'm super excited for this pod, Lord, and I just invite your presence into this room, Father. I pray that you give us the words that will edify not just the testimonies, but edifies you and glorifies you, Father God, and that whoever listens to this, Father, that they'll be able to take something, whether it inspires them, encourages them, or it really challenges them to seek truth. We love you, and we thank you in advance. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Okay. Honestly, I was getting my nails done. Okay, by the way, the wife is in the room as well, so I'm going to be probably talking to her a lot too. But the wife is one of my bestest friends, and you're honestly one of my best friends too, dude. You guys are just like, we've gone through a lot of stuff together. Definitely. And a lot of different stages, a lot of just seasons as friends. So I'm really excited to sit down. So thank you for coming.
Of course.
Yeah. So where to start? So I always like to just start from the beginning, like, because the thing is, I don't even fully know your story. Like, I know bits and pieces of just your upbringing, but what I do know is, as soon as I met you, it was through I think it was a TikTok or Instagram that one of our friends sent when we were building other businesses and stuff. That I don't really want to talk about.
Speak of that. Just leave it.
Rebuke it in Jesus' name. Let's leave it in the past. I'm just kidding. No. But in all seriousness, like, you were throwing down on social media, like, inspiration. You have a way of saying things and just being authentic and genuine and real. And I was like, oh, and you're younger than I am. A lot younger, but you're wise. But you're wise. Look, I know it's not that much, but anyways, the thing is, like, I was like, oh, this guy's wise. And ever since then, like, I've had mad respect for you, and even now more that you're the husband of one of my bestest friends. So, but I want to know how that came about. Like, what makes Gabriel? So, with that, the question is, well, introduce yourself for those of you for the people that don't know you, your name, where you grew up, and then we can just kind of start there.
Okay, yeah. Well, my name's Gabe Ramirez. Where I kind of grew up, it's kind of a longer story. So, I kind of bounced around a few states. I was born in LA, and then I moved to Las Vegas, and then we moved to Washington, and then we moved back to Las Vegas, and then back to Washington.
What? I had no idea.
Yeah, there was a lot of... I would say the reason for moving was because of a lot of issues with money, especially with when my mom had to take care of 3 kids before the age of 21, which is a year younger than I am, which I cannot. With a 5-month-old, I don't know how she did it with 3 kids.
Isn't that crazy to think
insane.
About? Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, mad respect for, like, single moms. I don't know how y'all do it. But yeah, since Washington, hi baby. It's my son.
Yeah, the son's in the house too. Hey, he's gonna have to make a special appearance.
He has. So after Washington, we moved back to LA, and since LA, then we moved to Fontana, which is in the Inland Empire, and that's kind of where I went to high school. All that moving was before the 8th grade.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was definitely a lot of changing. It was definitely a lot of, like, after the first move, I was like, okay, I'm leaving, like, a whole group of friends. And then I specifically remember in 2nd grade where I was moving from another school, because I moved to, like, 5-6 different schools just before, like, middle school. And I was like, why?
So 5 different, like, elementary schools?
Yeah, just kept moving around.
So, like, no stability.
No. And so I remember, like, going home on a bus one day, and I was just thinking, like, damn, what's the point of even making friends?
No.
Because, like, I'm going to move, so, like, what's the point? So just a lot of moving. And then once we kind of came into the Inland Empire, I kind of like grounded myself because that's when I actually went to high school. And that's where I could start like, okay, now I'm staying here. So my mom said we're staying here this time. So now let me
What made it to where you guys were actually staying? Like your mom got a new job or a stable job or what?
So a lot what happened back in LA, for the better or worse, is that there's a lot of situations happening in the household where, you know, from ex-boyfriends that were treating her the best. And it's a very common story. I used to get choked up about it, but now I just see it as like something that made her who she is today. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's happening with my brothers because the one thing that kind of made me different, because I have 5 brothers and 1 sister, right? And, you know, 4 of my siblings, so 3 brothers and 1 sister, actually from a different, you know, mother, and then brother from a different mother. And then the other 2 siblings are actually from a different father. And together, my mom and dad had me, and I was the only one they had between those 2 families.
Right.
And so the 2 brothers that my mom had with a different hombre, a different man, we actually lived with them. And so the thing is that when they were born, their dad did. They were he didn't show up at all. And he, you know, the typical, you know, went for milk and never came back, like all that. And then, so, you know, that's why my mom had to raise 3 kids on her own, because not too long after she met my dad, 3 years they were married, and then, you know, they separated. They parted ways for, you know, whatever happened between them. So that's kind of where we went into, I'm sorry, where were we? That's what kind of separated me a little bit from them. And
so, but your situation with like your dad and your relationship with your dad, what did that look like?
So what I remember, very first memory of my dad that I remember is him going up to Washington when I was like, I don't remember how old I was, like 8. And so I remember seeing him in the airport, and it felt like the first time, because I have no, you know, memories younger than that. Right. Because I was 3, you know. So how could I? And so I remember him I remember him seeing at the airport, and I was like, is that my dad? But then I had this type of feeling of running up to him and then hugging him. So I did that. And I was like, oh, cool, this is him, you know?
Oh, hold on, wait. Okay, let's take it slower. So that's like your first memory, but you had like an instinct that was your dad?
Yeah, I had definitely type of like, I know you're familiar. And so when I hugged him, it kind of like, okay. So
when was the last, do you know now, like, when was the last time you had seen him before that time?
Before that? No, that was the first.
That was like the first time?
That's the first memory.
Yeah, but I know it's your first memory, but like, was he just dipped for 8 years?
No, so, you know, I don't want to put my mom's dirty laundry out there, but, you know, when you're trying to raise 3 kids on your own, trying to find different ways to raise them, whether that's moving different states, finding different types of opportunity. And the thing with my mom is that she didn't have her papers either. And so back, you know, even now to this day, to find a job where you don't have papers is incredibly hard.
Yeah.
I mean, she just left a job 2 years ago where they were only paying her $18 an hour, and she worked for them for almost a decade. And because she didn't have papers, they weren't appreciating her as much. And she was a manager too.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that type of income with those 3 kids, she had to move around a lot. That's why we moved around a lot, because of money. And so you guys just kind of had to follow her. Well, yeah.
Yeah, and your dad wasn't able to really have that relationship with you.
So he would call. He would call before then. Well, after the airport thing, I would remember him calling, and he would talk to me on the phone. But that's pretty much it. And, you know, I always wished I saw him, but the one thing that I kept remembering is that, why is he only calling me? And what about my other brothers? And so that's when the realization started to happen. I was like, oh, wait, they don't have their dad. So that's
okay. Yeah. How old were you when that happened?
That was very hard. Very hard to, like, distinctly put the time frame.
Yeah.
But it was definitely after 7 years old where all that started happening.
You were like, oh, shoot. You started to make the connections. Did your mom ever, like, kind of explain the situations to you, or you kind of were just figuring it out on your own?
I figured it out the older I got. When I got to middle school, I just started seeing, when we moved back to California, I started seeing exactly how other families were, because there's a lot of other families that was like just broken up, you know, mom, dad, different, which is very common. Yeah, what I've seen.
Yeah.
Sad to say, but
yeah, it's the reality though.
Yeah, definitely. So that's what the realization started to happen. I was never sat down and explained like,
yeah,
hey, we're not together no more.
Yeah. Okay. And so I guess like I'm trying to figure out what makes it to where you're such a deep person. 'Cause you're a deep person, right? Like I mean, I'm not tripping. Like you're just a deep person. The way you just think about life and you reflect a lot about yourself and like how did that happen? Were you always like that? Were you always wanting to become better and do better, or?
So I answer that first question. I'm a deep person because I know that life is very serious, and if you don't take it serious, like where you're gonna end up.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, okay, I'm coming from a single mom, and who's my financial backing? You know, her brothers and you know my grandparents on her side, they're like they have their own problems. You know, with alcoholism and drug addicts. That's where her family's from. You know, just she doesn't have a good background.
Yeah.
So if I have no one to fall back on, not even my mom because she's trying to raise 3 kids on her own, what am I gonna do to make it different?
Yeah.
And I started realizing that during middle school, and that's when it clicked. And so that's where my deep values come from. It's like if I can't take this serious, why even live?
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
And then that second part question, what was that?
Were you always like wanting to be better and like because you're into like just personal growth and goals and all that? So
that happened in high school when I was walking to school. Well, first off, when I met Jesus was around 12 years old. So that's when I started thinking.
So where it gets even more exciting.
That's exactly
that's a great
where
segue.
I started to change because.
Okay, great. I love that. Okay, so wait, hold on. So 12?
12 years old is where I started to change because towards up to that point, I was going to the same direction as my brothers. And my brothers were getting into a lot of stuff that happens in high school where they're not with the right crowd and drugs and alcohol start getting involved. And I was actually, you know, at a young age getting influenced by them and doing those types of not great stuff for your body. Yeah. I was very young. And so when they started getting a huge attitude towards my mom, and then I started getting into that. But then my dad, who I started visiting now, took me to a church where the brothers from another mother were going. And that's where I finally seeing them. And they were completely different. They were actually connected. They were talking to each other. And the way I grew up with my brothers, we drifted very much apart during middle school and high school. And we were just like completely different people.
So it seems like you were like looking at the different fruits.
Yes.
Like, this is these fruits and then those fruits. There's something about that. And yes. I want that.
Yes.
And is it because of Jesus? Were they Christian or what happened?
So my older brother, Chris and Andrew, they had the biggest impact in my life because I went to church and I was like, okay, it's cool, whatever.
They invited you?
Well, my dad and them, they wanted to see me, so they took me together over there. And my brother, Chris and Andrew, are actually studying to be like youth pastors. And so when they were like singing gospel and all that, they were up there like cheering. I remember seeing my brother Chris just like raising his hands.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, what is that? You know? And so I was the first one in my family when I went back home because I was going to my dad's on the weekend. When I would go back home, I would grab my mom's Bible and I would start to read it. And I would start to just make notes. And I didn't know what the heck I was reading. I just know like, hey, if this is making them happy and I want that happiness, like, why not get that, you know?
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because you're so young, but you realize something so basic.
Yeah.
You know, okay, this is book, Jesus, happy. I want that. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And
sure.
So
your mom wasn't, or she had a Bible. Was she Catholic, Christian, or she was just?
She didn't really have.
Yeah, she just had the Bible. Yeah. Okay.
And no, I don't even think anyone basically. I think she was raised Catholic, but nothing of her upbringing was like hardened on religion, or not religion, but Christianity, Jesus. And so, no, it was kind of on my own.
When did you make the decision to accept Jesus like that? Was there like a line in the sand moment, or was it kind of just more you were going to church and kind of just happened? And
it kind of just happened. I think, if I'm being honest, the way I accepted Jesus is probably when I got married, which is much more later on. So it was definitely a long journey going back and forth.
Okay, dude, this is so good. I tell you, because you're my best friend, you're my best friend too. But like, I don't know all the details like this, and I'm so excited that I get to. Okay. Okay. I'm like, where do I want to go with this? All right. So you're in high school during this.
When
You're going to church with your.
So first church was 7th grade when I started going to church, and then at that time too, I might as well pitch in there. The reason why I wanted to be so happy is because what was happening at home was not happy. You know, the cops were coming over
so a lot of domestic violence.
Yes, a lot of domestic violence. A lot of like tension in the household too. It's like you can cut it with like a knife.
Yeah, like it's like stale and dark.
Yes.
And yeah.
And then along with also going through, money problems, like I would be at home, and it hit me really hard because in high school a counselor mentioned this to me. But when I was at home at 12 years old in 7th grade, my mom would work all the time, so I would hardly see her like throughout the week. And she would come home, and I would be in her bed, and I would sleep in the bed with her because me and her were just like got so clicked together, and she was my best friend growing up. And I would wait for her at home, and she would come home, and she would always take money out of her pocket. And she asked, Gabriel, can you count this? And I would count it, right? And then I always remember her saying it's not enough. And I started thinking in my head, it's not enough. And then I started thinking, okay, well, it's not enough for rent, for gas, for water, or the water bill or whatever. Or in the bills that she had, it wasn't enough. And so it's funny because when we moved back to LA, she got with a boyfriend who had a good business. And before then, we were struggling a lot with money too. And so this guy had a good business, and they got together, and he moved in with us, and everything was going groovy. And then, like, I had a sense of, like, oh, this is good. And he was giving me an allowance for, like, $20 a week. And this happened for a few months. And I was like, oh, this is cool, Like, hey, I have there's a guy in the house. Like, who is this guy? How is he, like, trying to, like, raise us? And then the business started going down. So his businesses started, like, falling. His best friend was stealing clothes from his manufacturing. So someone screwed him over. Yeah. And so the money went away. And at the same time the business was going down, what sucked is that, I always slept on the floor growing up, and my mom always tried to buy us furniture, but we kept moving, so we had to throw a lot of furniture out and then go to a whole different other state. And so she bought us beds in that apartment, and then we had to get rid of them because we got bed bugs. And I was like, oh yeah, bed bugs is bad. But it was really bad to the point because it was in the walls. The bed bugs were in the walls, and they were in all our clothes and then in our bed too. And so we had to throw away our bunk beds, and the couches that she bought that she had I think she had financed as well. We had to throw those couches away too. So it's like we restarted over, and like it's going up, and then it all went away. And so and at that time too, me and my brother were like kind of separating as well. And so I didn't like him as much at the time because, he was going through a phase where he wasn't the best to me or, my mom. And at that time, that's when I hated him at that time, sad to say. And he was my older brother. So I was, when I would visit my dad and I would see my brothers over there, they were so much different, and I didn't even live in the same household with them. I was someone completely else, and they would invite me, and they would buy me clothes, and they would buy me blankets because they knew what was happening at home. Or like, hey, I'm sleeping with a sweater at home, and I didn't see that in him growing up. Sad to say. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I don't want to be next to you. So it was a 2-bedroom apartment, and my brother slept in the room. My mom slept in the other room with her boyfriend when he was there, and then my other brother Anthony would sleep in the living room. And then I just got into a phase where I didn't want to be around nobody, so I slept in the kitchen. And then when I was in the kitchen too, I mean, there was bed bugs in like everything we had. And so I slept with like a sweater for like 6 months, I think most of 7th grade. And it was bad. Like the bed bugs were bad because they got it. We had to throw away all the furniture. We had to throw away a lot of our clothes, and then I would go to school, and it was embarrassing too because I would go to school, and then there was bed bugs in like my backpack, and it was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing.
So it was like infested in all of your stuff.
It was bad. We had to put poison all over everything, and like it was bad. And and seeing that, like, hey, we came up a little bit, and then we came back down. It kind of just really beat me down a little bit. But the good part was that when I would go see my dad, I would go to church and I'm like, oh, it's all better now. Like, hey, this is it's getting good. I feel happy on the weekends, and I would visit my dad, and I was just a lot more excited to be there than at home. And so when I would get home, something that started happening was I started getting really angry, and I just started getting a really bad habit of like blowing up.
Yeah.
So I would blow up at my brothers specifically because, especially Angel or Anthony, and then we would fight. We would fight really bad. The neighbors would like call the cops, and
it was like built up like resentment. Because I feel like when we're younger, it's because when we don't understand why people act the way they act. I don't know, for me, like I would see other moms, how they were always showing up at the schools, or they would do this and this and that and spend time with their kids. And I'm like looking at my mom, like, well, why don't you do that? And so as a kid, as a young, you automatically think, well, they must not love me, or they must not like me. They must not care about me. Like, do you feel like that's what happened? Like you were just, well, if it's happening on the weekends, why can't it happen here?
I feel like I was just mad they didn't stay together. Because it's like when I remember this one time I went on a field trip with a friend in middle school. His name was Sarkis, and we went to like the Gettysburg Museum, something like that, I think it's called. And then I remembered his dad and his mom chaperoned, and I was like, "What's happening?" And like his dad was talking to him, and their mother and the dad were like, they're being loved, and his dad bought me a burrito, and I don't know. It was just seeing that, and then when I go back home, I was like, "Why don't I have this? Like this is normal. This is what I'm supposed to have. I want this." Yeah. So when I would go home, I'm like, I would get mad because it's not her fault, and at the same time, it's like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what I accepted at that age, and so I was happy when I got there, and I got back, and I wasn't happy, so I blew up.
Yeah. And then the anger issues, like, is that something that you still struggled with growing up, like even past like high school and
I did
after high school?
Yeah, but I became more of like an emotional guy. So instead of like doing violence, I hate to say this, but I just cried.
Yeah.
I just cried because I'm like, I don't want to hurt anybody else.
Right.
And I know what I'm going through is my own problem.
Yeah.
And so I would just like tear up and just go by myself and cry.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, I need to just let this go, move on, and then,
it seems like the bed bites, or what are they called?
Bed bugs.
Bed bugs. Same thing, right? That, sleeping on the floor with the sweater, the broken family, all of that. I see that like you use that a lot as motivation to never give that to your son, or never, have that broken family, because I feel like you really value family. You value even just hard work to make it happen. Like, do you feel like that really was serves as a motivation, like everything that happened?
100%. I don't want to go there anymore. I want to be as far away as that as possible. So that's why I kind of like drown myself in work, and realistically, my son in the background. Realistically speaking, I can't. It's hard to talk to anybody about this because they just don't understand. Like I would tell people, like, it's not. I don't love money. I don't love money, right? I just like the opportunities and avenues it could bring up, right? And the main thing for me is that I want to be able to take my family on trips. I want to be able to chaperone if he has to go with friends. I want to be able to do that. I want to be the guy or the dad that buys the burrito for that kid, right? Who's just by himself. And that only comes with money. So that's why I work my ass off. But for a while, I think like a few years ago, I did have a relationship with money that I had to like,
yeah, we all did.
Distinct from, right?
We all did do it together, yeah. That's why I really appreciate talking to you, because I feel like we kind of went through that season together, and like we saw that wasn't it.
Yeah, we definitely had to switch up the mentality.
Switch up the vibe, and yeah. So let's bring Jesus in, because you say yeah. So high school's happening, and you're going to church, all the thing. You understand, like, that's what brings happiness, yes, to some extent, right? You're like, okay, I get it. But you didn't accept Jesus until your marriage. I do know some of the story. I'm not going to say anything because I really want to hear the entire story. But so explain that, because you met Rosie.
Yes.
And how long did you guys date? Not that long, huh?
A year.
Freaking Christian relationships, bro.
I don't know. There's no really exact
But he knew. Okay, what I will say.
Go ahead. Say it. I know you're gonna say her.
Gabriel knew the moment he laid eyes on Rosie that was his wife.
Yeah, I did.
He was
said, I'm gonna marry her.
all in, and it's just really, it gives me hope. I'm a hopeless romantic, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna find my Gabriel and Rosie vibe.
You know that moment I knew, I told her this, and
yeah,
she
let's
started
talk about
laughing.
it.
The moment I knew was we were driving into Victoria Gardens in the parking lot structure, and then this is when the first day I met her.
At the Starbucks or what?
No, Darlene picked her up, and then we went to go to Victoria Gardens to go to, I don't know where we're going there, but
I think it was Starbucks. We were always at Starbucks.
Oh yeah, you're right.
grinding.
Yeah, you have better memory than I do. Anyways, there was people standing in front of like the garage entrance, and this girl, she lowered her window. And she was like,
something outrageous,
excuse me, please. Yeah. And then they moved. And I was like, this girl is not afraid to speak her mind.
No, she's not.
Right?
No, she's not. And she's going to be on the pod.
She's going to speak up about it. And immediately in my head, I fell in love. And I was like, I need this girl. I need her in my life. And that's how I knew it. And that was the first day I met her.
And you had no idea how out there she was, huh?
No, I didn't. I didn't even know I was setting myself up.
Yeah, you didn't know. Hey, but you're committed now. So anyways. I'm just kidding. No. Okay, so you guys dated for a year. And
Not even, she says.
Not even, right?
What's the time frame?
But then there was like a moment where not an ultimatum, but you were like more so like you knew what you wanted, right? Like as far as like marriage.
Yeah, so I was dating to marry.
Yeah, Rosie's that Christian. Like I'm dating to marry. Okay, come on, somebody. And I'll just let you tell the story because I know, but I don't want to say it wrong. I don't want to tarnish it. So what happened? Like, how did you even ask for the engagement?
So I actually. The way I brought the ring, first off, was I took my mom to the mall on her birthday. And I was like, hey, let's go to the mall. Let's go get something. And she was like, oh, you're going to take me to the mall. Like, yeah, it's your birthday, And so we went to Jared and we bought a ring.
For Rosie?
For Rosie. And I looked at my mom and it's like, she asked me, because she was like, are you sure? Because I didn't know her that long. And then I said, yeah, I'm sure.
So 6 months.
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, so not even a year.
Yeah, so all these people out here dating for 5-10 years and still don't know, you guys need to stop that. Find Jesus. Jesus will let you know real quick.
That's what I tell my friends. It's like, what's the point? Are you dating to like for lust, to like mess around, and that's not cool. Especially for men too. It's like if a man's dating and to just have a lot of girls by his side, I never saw that as cool. I saw that as like.
After what? No, for real. I know you laid eyes on her. She was ratchet. You're like, okay, I like her. She's loud and ratchet. But how long after did you really for sure know that you were gonna marry her? You're like, no, seriously. At Starbucks, she ordered her pink drink.
Right there was like, I want to be with this girl.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess my question is like, so when people or men are dating, quick little sidebar. When men are like dating girls for like past a year and they still don't commit to at least like, hey, yeah, I know I want to marry you one day, even if it's not like right away. Like, what is that? Lack of commitment issues? Is it because they want to just still mess around?
For a man that really loves this girl, I feel like it's more about where he is at his life, because it's like more of, can I buy this woman this girl that I love so much. Mm-hmm. I want to give her the world. I want to provide for her. I want to give her a house. I want to buy everything she needs. I don't want her struggling.
But the caveat is if he really loves her and is about her.
He really loves her.
But if not, then it's just like a fling or something to keep around. I mean, if you're not, I just know a couple of people that are in my life that are going through this. Not me personally, but and I'm like,
that's the thing. It's if a man is dating a girl because he really loves her and wants to be with her, it's more about where he is in his life. What I think,
which could be, opinion. Yeah, we can have grace in that. But
if he's postponing it, I think he has maybe a few doubts, or he thinks that being married is being in jail. Or, too much of a commitment.
Yeah,
and that's at least what I think, because I feel like nowadays for marriage, it's people don't see it as more fun as it was back in the day.
Yeah, it's true. People kind of look at it like, oh,
it's
shit.
scary. I mean, it is scary. I mean,
Yeah.
you're committing your whole life to somebody, and I mean, if they want to be sure, I think you can be sure after 6 months. And the thing with that too, what I would recommend for people, especially like thinking about getting married, is to have that conversation right off the bat. Like, hey, you know, this is my values. This is my yes and no's. You can change. Like, this is one thing I won't change about me. The fact that I know that's something I love in my life. You cannot change this about me.
Hey guys, I hope you guys are enjoying the episode. Told y'all it was gonna be good. Real quick, I do want to take the time to share with you the sponsor of this podcast. Well, one of the sponsors, which is Kangen Water Enagic. I personally got introduced to this machine back in 2017. I was really sick. I had a stomach infection to the point where I was throwing up. I had fever, headache, chills, all the things, right? So much that I was literally bursting blood vessels in my eyes. It was insane. I was going in and out of the hospital. The doctors were like, you just need to drink lots of water. You need to hydrate. You need to flush it out. So I was drinking lots of water. And of course, I was posting on my Instagram the whole journey. I had posted this story where I had all these empty water bottles on my bed. And the caption was, drink, they said, hydrate, they said. Some guy reached out to me and was like, hey, you need Kangen water. And I'm like, what is that? He's like, it's like really healthy water, all the things. I'm like, left him on red 3 times. He insisted. He was like, hey, I'll give you some gallons for free and you'll feel better. Anyways, end up finding out that this machine is a medical grade device out in Japan. It's been around for 50 plus years. So many medical testimonies, so many people that are actually healing from this water. Not to make any claims, but it just is what it is. And so with that, I ended up investing into it. Once I saw the video of the testing of the water, of the everyday water that we're drinking, I was literally mind blown, and you can't unsee it, right? And so I want to encourage you to just check it out. Check out what I'm talking about. You have celebrities, actors, world-renowned doctors that are backing up this machine. And so it's super legit. And I've partnered up with this company for the past 8 years. That's crazy. For the past 8 years. And so I believe in it. I will never share anything with you guys that I don't personally believe in. So if you are interested, reach out to me, comment water in the comments, or direct message me on Instagram at Seek Truth with Ashley, and I will personally send you the link. And if you are local, I will personally give you a free experience of the water so you can see what the heck I'm talking about and that it's not all hype. But with that, enjoy the rest of the episode. Okay? Okay. Love y'all. Okay. Did you guys have that conversation?
No, we didn't.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing because it was just so funny because I was expecting like, yeah, we had it.
No, we don't. And that's the one thing. That's why I recommend it to people.
But you still knew.
I still knew.
Yeah.
And I think I got lucky. Not lucky. I give it to God. Too,
Yeah.
Because he finally gave me a break. It's like, you learned it.
He was like, all right, yeah, I'll give you this wife.
And thank God. And
you guys had like long night talks and stuff like that. It was like indirectly?
It was indirectly, yeah.
It was indirectly. But one thing we did have a conversation is our faith, especially with her mom.
You guys did or didn't?
We did.
Okay. How did that? Okay, there you go.
She sat us down multiple times and talked to us about, have God in your marriage. And we both agreed with that.
What? Oh, yeah. I remember. Okay.
What did you say?
Because I kicked you out because you were playing games.
She kicked me out. I
didn't want to say it. That's what I was like. I know part of this story, but I don't know how much.
It's a long journey.
It's a long journey. Okay, but that's good though. So you knew what you wanted, and you were like, all right, like, get out then, And then what happened? Because this is the build up.
And she came over to my house, she picked me up, and she talked to me. And her dad actually talked to me, and he was like. He had a really deep conversation.
The mom?
The dad.
Yeah, my
the
mom went to go pick him up because she's like, in the morning, she goes, oh, where's Gabriel? Oh, I took him home. And she was like, ¿por qué? I was like, I don't want to be with him. He's playing games. He's saying he doesn't want marriage. He doesn't want kids. I don't want to deal with that. I was like, we already had this conversation.
Respectfully.
And she was like, oh, okay, yeah, you told me. And she always told me because she would be like, Mija, he's so young. He's like, why do you want to be with somebody so young? And I'd be like, Ma, he's different. I always told her he's different. And then so that day she goes, didn't you tell me that he was different?
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, but I guess I was fooled. So she went to go pick him up.
Okay, so I don't think they probably heard that. So basically, she kicked him out because she was playing games. But then her mom was like, "Where's Gabriel?"
Yeah.
And then she went to go find you.
Yeah.
Okay. And so let's.
She went to go find me. She brought me home to her house, and then.
Cause you were devastated, huh?
I was distraught. And then young, I had a few doubts, but it was a few other issues. And then when I talked to her dad when her mom picked me up, he really put everything into perspective, and just
what did he say? Because you're a strong Christian.
He said
people we're talking about. Yeah. Rosie's parents.
Rosie's parents, my wife's parents are. He's a pastor.
Yeah, he's a pastor.
He built a church on his property by hand with his own hands, and which is crazy.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
And we had a very long depth conversation, just saying you need to be strong if you want something like this. Because he asked me again, he's like, do you want to be married? And I said, yeah, I do. It's just I'm scared. He's like, you can't be scared. This is marriage is a beautiful thing. And if you're gonna not get married and you're going to go the route of like having a lot of girls and all this, that's not the right route, mijo, right? And I know that. I just at the time, it didn't click with me at the time because I was still young, and he really put everything in along those lines. He kept repeating, "You just have to be strong, right? Marriage is a lot of patience, but it's a beautiful thing." I've been married with my wife. He was talking. I've been married with Rosie's mom for 20 years, something like that. And it's a beautiful thing. I never regret it. And 30 years? 30 years. Jeez. And no one's ever talked to me like that. No one's ever talked to me like that. No one really dove into like marriage like that.
By this time you already had the ring or no?
I did.
Oh, so you were wanting marriage. It's just there was
you were scared. No one had that conversation with me growing up. No one had that conversation in saying marriage is a beautiful thing. It was more of just following my heart, which was great because that's what led me in the first place to meet her. It's just he really helped me with the push.
Yeah.
Which I like everything that lined up. It's so crazy to think about because it was perfect. It was perfect. Her parents being there for us in our marriage. It was perfect that I met her at that time in my life. It was really just lined up perfectly. And he came in at the perfect time and gave me the push I needed. And
did that lead to you accepting Jesus, like for real, or what? Why do you say that it was once you got married?
Once I got married. In our first year of marriage, that's when I really accepted Jesus. Because it's like, okay, who's going to build me into the character I need to be for my wife? Jesus. Who's going to build me into the type of man I needed for this family? Jesus. And so I really just was going to her father's church, was praying, and I finally just accepted him all. Like, hey, I need him in my life to be better. And then it got stronger once my son was born. So definitely that first year. The first year of marriage is hard. It's hard.
Why is it hard?
It's hard because
how long have you guys been married?
Huh?
How long have you guys been married?
3 years.
3 years now?
Yeah.
Dude, I saw your guys' wedding picture one day on Instagram, and I was like, hold on. I was not there. I was so mad. I messaged her. I was like, wait, did you guys have a wedding? Now I think about it. People are probably like, are you guys really best friends? No, we really are, I promise. But no, and then, but then she's like, no, it wasn't like that. And I was like, okay. I thought I was tripping. I was like, am I having memory loss? I was like.
We got married really fast, by the way. Our date is 4-3-2-1, the day we got married.
Oh, that's
so we had to rush it. And a lot of people were like, I can't make it that day. And a lot of my family didn't go. Like my dad and my mom.
You guys wanted it to be 4-3-2-1?
I did.
Yeah. How did I know?
Of course, she said, I'm going to do this day so you can remember.
So who was the extra one? Oh, you?
I didn't want to forget.
No, that's cute though.
No, it's not because you didn't want to forget. It's because you didn't want me to forget. She was like, I'm going to do this day so you never forget.
Hey, babe, you're not forgetting. You're not forgetting.
It's not forgetting, so yeah.
Okay, but why is it hard? Like,
well, you're in a commitment with somebody and you're figuring out that marriage is becoming one person. And so it's hard for both parties sometimes to accept that fact and to let go of stuff that they need to let go from the past. And so really that first year was healing from her past and from my past. and accepting that we're one person, which we're learning more and more every year through our marriage and every month, every day. But you're becoming one person. You're no longer two different types of people. You no longer have your values and your strengths. You combine them. You both have this strength because, whatever going to go through, I'm going to help you through it. Yeah. So it's both of our strengths. Your weakness is my weakness too, and I'm going to help you get through that as well. And it's just accepting you're one person.
And how has Jesus, like really accepting Jesus as your Lord, like helped you with your family, your marriage, your son?
I think with me, it's just knowing that as the man of the family, I have to be that leader, and accepting Jesus and being that leader. This is how you're supposed to be with your wife. Be patient, accept her for who she is, and make sure that anytime she has an attitude, that
Rosie doesn't have an attitude, though.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
So you're her best friend, but I'm her husband.
I don't think she has an attitude, but okay.
I love it.
No, but for real, okay.
This is a trap. It's applauded.
Maybe this wasn't a good idea. I'm just kidding. No, for real though. That's huge. Like being patient with your wife, and
yes.
The Bible literally gives us the playbook, instructions to everything in life. And I think that even as like for your son, I think it's so cool because you're literally, it's kind of like the movie we watched yesterday. It ends with us. Like you're ending the curses or the patterns of your past. Like you're a present father. You're providing for your son. You have to have a healthy marriage, even if there's up and downs, whatever. You guys are here, and growing, and so I guess like I like to ask people too, like, is there anything like on your heart that you would like to talk about, or that you think that people should know about the walk?
I think that it's more there's a younger generation my age, around young 20s, and even older teens coming out of high school. It's that there's a lot of stuff out there in the world nowadays that's deceiving of like what's great in life. Like especially on social media, I feel like it's portraying a lot of like, hey, this is the type of life you want. This is what you got to do, And they're really steering the younger generation to be something that I feel like is not great for our future. So being disrespectful or disrespect for me is a big thing. It's being disrespectful to and not loving one another as their neighbor, right? It's everyone's in their own world. Like, this is my world. Like, F off,
Yeah.
But
selfish.
It's selfishness. And there's a lot of beauty in this world with other people. And, there's a lot of other people with different types of stories. There's a lot of other people who have their own journeys. And we're becoming more distant from the fact that if we're all one, it's funny to say, but we got to accept that we're all a community. Yeah. We're all a family. We're all going through our own struggles, And people forget that. They're not as accepting of that.
Yeah.
They're so caught up in their own lives, they don't realize, okay, that's another human being. That's another person. That's another mother, father. That's another son or daughter or aunt or uncle. You wouldn't want someone treating your family member like that.
They're literally going through in a life experience exactly like you are. Like, I don't know if you ever seen that there's like this guy that was interviewing someone on the streets, and then like someone walks past and the guy's like, yo, bro, like what the hell? Like basically
I've seen that.
Yeah, and
I've seen that.
And the guy's like, well, he probably didn't mean it. He's just caught up in his life. I mean, I'm not saying it verbatim, but caught up in his life like we all are, he probably didn't mean it. And then I was like,
he's doing his own thing.
He's just doing his own thing. Like he I'm like, dude, that's so true.
Yeah,
like
100%.
a lot of times like we're like we get oh my gosh, but it's like, dude, like they're just vibing in their own vibe.
They're doing their own thing.
Doing their own thing. They most of the time don't have bad intentions. It's just like we're all distracted in different ways, and like having more grace with one another of like, even like, for example, if like my friends, because I go through seasons where I'm not as present with them, or I'm not texting, I'm not calling, not hanging out with them. And me and Rosie are like really like, we're really good with that. It's like we can go days, weeks, months not like being super active, but when we see each other, it's like having that grace, like, okay, she's human, I'm human. Like we don't have to be so selfish and be like, oh, she's not texting me or she's not checking up on me. It's like, bro, like just more understanding that we're all doing this life
Yeah.
And it's not always easy.
You're
and
not the center of the universe.
You're not the center of the universe.
No,
like literally, we're
you.
literally all doing a thing right now, and that's just it. So,
that's what you realize when you get married too, especially with like my best friends. Like I still love them. They're awesome. They're great. Shout out to Anthony and Joseph and Tristan.
Aw, hey guys.
It's like. Yeah, I'm starting a new career. I'm trying to better myself for the future.
Come on, somebody.
Yeah,
new
like
career.
I'm raising a 5-month-old and a wife. I'm just kidding. No, it's flipped completely around. She's raising me.
The way her head.
I know, she's like, what?
So fast. She said,
Excuse me,
sir.
No, but I'm a husband.
That's hilarious.
I'm a father. Those are responsibilities. I mean, it is what it is. They overtake, sometimes friendships. Yeah. But at the same time, I got really lucky with the friend group I have because they understand that. They understand that, hey, like he's doing his own thing. He's trying to better himself. And for the same way, too, what you asked earlier, it's like, is there anything you want to talk about for like the younger generation? You got to put yourself around the type of people you want to be with.
I was about to say, though, like you're lucky because you intentionally put yourself in that group. Like that group of circle of friends that we have, we're all understanding because we're all in that mindset of growth and and being better, becoming better. So to ever put somebody else down because they're out here focusing or doing grinding, it's like it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen because we all understand, that we're on that vibe. So yes, very important.
Yeah, and you can't surround yourself with people and then complain about where your life's at, because if you look at your 5 closest people, more than likely I can tell the type of person or what the habits that you have that you need to stop doing, right? If they're bad.
Yes.
And so you got to put yourself around the right people. And, now that I'm married and those friends that I have, they understand that. I'm very grateful for that. I got a break once I got older, I feel like, because I had such a lot of turmoil going on.
Or maybe you were just in God's will, and God's will has fruitfulness and blessings.
That's true, too, because I always tell, like, myself, now that when I'm going through something really tough, it's like, okay, I'm going through it, but who's going to know my lessons? My son. Who's going to understand what I go through?
Isn't that exciting?
Yes, it is.
I get excited when I'm, like, going through something, and I'm like, oh, dude, I can't wait. Because even when I was pregnant, I have this picture on Instagram, dude. I'm, like I look pale. I look like it's crazy, and I was going through it. And in the caption, I'm like, to my future son, like I'm gonna be able to go, like tell you about these times, like maybe not in detail, but I'll be able to explain it to you. And I look back now, and I'm like, dude, like I can really talk about it.
Yes.
And like, so it's just that's always gonna be a thing with our children, is that like one day we're all gonna be sitting down with Echo and Jedi and Suki, and we're gonna be telling them about just all the lessons. Like, you guys don't have to do all that. Like, if you guys do that, you have free will, but just know we did that and look at the consequences. Or look, so it's exciting.
Just having that voice in your life. Like, and that's what I compare to my childhood, too. If I had someone who guided me, I wouldn't make the mistakes I made.
It's so true.
And so exactly why I emphasize so much of, like, I have to build up my character, build myself up as a man. That's why I need Jesus in my life.
Yeah. We really do need those people. I have, like, certain teachers that I'll never forget. Shout out Mr. Dinley. Because he would have, like, deep, real conversations with us. Like, we would go out in lunch, and we would eat lunch there. And he would talk to us about life. And, like, he would prepare us, like, what really goes on in the world. And I never had those conversations with my dad or my mom until later on in life. But those people have impacts on us because we are creatures that are seeking. We're seeking, and we need the guidance. We need a shepherd. And so, especially having Jesus, like, he's our ultimate shepherd. And I always think, like, dang, how different my life would have been if I grew up, like, with Jesus in my life. But at the same time, I feel like it's perfect because I have so much more of appreciation because, like, you get to look back and be like, dang, like you said, like, I'm getting blessed right now. I was like, the fruits are so different. Like when you have God as your foundation and when you don't. Anything else you want to like talk about, or any advice or anything that, whether it's like a husband, a father, or maybe someone growing up in the situation that you grew up with, or just men in general.
It's a really good one. Kids and the teenagers that I grew up with, because I grew up in a very a lot of shit happened when I was younger, and I can't say all of it because there's a lot of other people involved in it.
Yeah.
It's that I promise you the best thing that ever happened to me was getting Jesus in my life, and he literally helped me see that whatever you're going through right now doesn't have to dictate who you can be in the future or who you have to be in the future. You don't have to be a statistic. You can be someone completely different. You can grow so much more. You're not in a bubble. You're not in a bowl, and you don't have to swim around there and that can't dream of flying.
Yeah.
You know, you could fly. You could definitely do everything you want to do as long as you put your mind to it. There's one thing that outdoes everything in this world. It doesn't matter if you're 6'5" or 4'6". If you have the work ethic, you can literally do what you want in this life.
Yeah.
Anything you want. And it hurts because I don't want any other kids to go through what I went through, but I know there's so many other kids that are going through so much worse. And all they need is that one person to say, like, hey, it doesn't have to be like this.
Yeah.
It can be something completely else.
Yeah.
You're just going through this right now, but I guarantee you, if you come out with a mindset that I can do anything I want in this life, you're going to go so much more far.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to say.
Okay, my last question to you is, what are some practical things someone can do if they're like, I'm not happy, I need a change in my life. Okay, this guy is saying Jesus is the way or whatever. Like, what's something I could do to start walking towards that?
Just go to church. just walk in.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna say hi, welcome, and they're very nice. just walk in, take a seat, and then even if you don't understand what you're hearing, just sit down, enjoy the music, and enjoy the talk. Because 9 out of 10 times, even if you go to, like, the church, the Way, it's a great church.
Shout out.
In San Bernardino. It's
Shameless
amazing.
plug.
They speak some truth, some hard facts of what really people are going through.
Yeah.
And so if you just listen, you're going to find somebody who resonates with your story.
Yeah.
And 9 out of 10 times, you're going to find somebody that went through much worse. Not that I'm saying what you're going through is not bad.
Right.
But there's somebody out there who overcame that.
Yeah.
And they're out there. And there's a lot of people in church who have had their breakthroughs. And so change your environment, change the people you're around with, and just walk into a church, sit down, and try to listen. And I promise you, if you do those 3 things, your life will change.
Come on, somebody. Well, this was good. Is there anything else you want to get off your chest?
I love you, wife. You got to get on the podcast.
Can we do... Oh, he's sleeping. Never mind. I was going to say, like, quick little... No, but it's okay. He's sleeping. Just know that this boy...
Is wrapped up.
I'll put B-roll if she allows me. I'll put B-roll right now as I'm speaking. Look at this fine stud. Sheesh. Anyways, all right. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. You got to go get your oil changed, right?
Yeah, I got to... It's been telling me to get service done for like a week. I'm like, okay, maybe I should take it in.
I sent it to Darlene. It was like this reel where it's like your gas is on, like, about to be on E, I need an oil change, but you're at Starbucks. It's like literally me. All right, bye guys.
Say what you need. Say what you need to say.
All right, now I feel like I can't talk because I feel like. All right, hold on. Let me just.
All right, what's up, y'all? I'm the wife.
Yeah, this
I'm
is the
out
wife.
here trying to clear some
So
stuff.
she had. We're setting the record straight.
Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Okay, let me tell you that.
Yeah, that's part 1, but part 2, why she's really here is to set the record straight.
He said he fell in love with me when I was sitting on Lily's couch. Shout out Lily, and I said 10 toes down.
Wait, is that really what happened?
That's what he told me.
Okay, hold on. Let me introduce you because the people don't. Well, some people do.
I'm just the wife.
No, she's not. She is the wife. She's not only... Okay, guys. So, wait, is this going to be an extra episode or is it going to be on the end?
We got it in the end.
We could do both. All right. So, for those of you that don't know, if you guys haven't watched the episode with her husband, with Gabriel, you guys need to watch that first because you're going to have lots of more context. But just know, this is my bestie. How long have we known each other?
Bro,
Since
like
2017?
5 years?
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 8.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like 7 at first.
Wow. Okay, anyways, so we've been out here. We've gone through many seasons together as well.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
We really have. But, we're going to have like another time where you kind of sit down even more because I feel like we're not going to be able to really get into everything. But I will say you are one of those friends that like Alyssa, that one girl that was on here as well. It's like you were the Christian friend that just always was still down though, like down in like a groovy way, in a way where it wasn't like over the top. Like you could tell
trying to do the most.
It's like it's like you could tell like you were grounded in something, even though you were out here like doing other stuff and you weren't fully like submitted, or I don't know how you want to explain it, but you would talk about Jesus. What would you say, dude?
Jesus got my back.
Jesus got my back. And I'd be like,
all the time. I still say that. Jesus got my back. We're good.
No, she would say that, and I wasn't Christian yet when you would say that. I'm just trying to think of like pivotal moments I remember, just to give people some context. Okay, when 2020 went down. Do you remember? Okay. COVID. Okay, dude, I was literally like going crazy because I was in like the conspiracy rabbit hole, and I was like, guys, like this is happening and that's happening and the world is ending. And Rosie's like, okay, well, I got Jesus and we're good. And now I understand what she's talking about. But now, before I was like, dude, how is she so chill? How does she have that peace, that happiness, that surpasses all understanding when the world is literally going down? And so without you, I don't think I've ever told you this, but you've planted a lot of seeds, my Jesus seeds in me. So let me make sure this isn't covered in your face. Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
I just realized, I was like, hold on, I didn't do any check. This is very spontaneous, but I like it. I like stuff like this. So I guess, Rosie, if you could just, how much time do we have, just so I'm aware? At 2:30, I leave? No,
like 2:15.
Oh, okay. We're just really gonna. How about?
It's a little.
What's on your mind? What's on your mind? Let's just talk real quick.
Let me see. Honestly, with what you just said, I think I've always had that like comfort of being in like the wreck or like whatever kind of misfortune is happening in life and the world. I think I've always had that peace because I'm grateful to my parents for instilling that, like, hey, as long as you have Jesus, as long as you put it to God, as long as you know, like, you're good. And so I think that's one reason why I was like, Jesus got my back, like, we're good.
Yeah.
And no matter how far away I would steer away from him, because there was a time, all the time, I think, even still now, where like things come into your head and you kind of just give in to like the temptation, to the worldly like things. And I always thank my parents for instilling the faith that I have today.
There's a verse of like, train your kids up in the way and they shall never depart. Like that, you're like a living testimony of that. Even if you like you steered off, you always would come back. Yeah, girl, because even in my year of raving, which he hates that I talk about or that I went through that, because, I was out here doing the things outside, partying it up, drinking, doing the drugs. Oh, you didn't go through the rave scene, huh? No. Only a few understand. But like my mom would be like, ¿Dónde vas? And she'd see my makeup done, all colorful, my hair and stuff. And I always had like a cover outfit on. Yeah, me too. She'd be like, ¿Dónde vas? Because you would be half naked, huh? Not half naked, but like just me. but definitely like because all of 2015, I raved. If I wasn't at one event that month, I was at 2 or 3. Yeah. Like it was always something that whole year. So I think that year itself, like my best friend, he tells me, he goes, Rosie, I took you to your first rave. After that, you're like, I'm going to this, I'm going to that, I'm going to this. I'm like, yeah. No, it's a real thing. Once you go to one, and like, if you either hate it and you'll never go back, or you like it and then you're like, okay, let me go to the next one and the next one. It's like it's a drug. It's an adrenaline rush. Yeah. And I don't know if it was that plus the people plus like it's just community. And I think also that's the reason why I have noticed now, like, how my husband was talking about, you like the 5 people you hang out with, you kind of start to like resemble each other in a sense. You get to see certain characteristics that you are or whatever I don't know, within your friend group. And I could say it was because I was hanging out with a lot of people who liked to rave at that time. Yeah. And then, after that, like I started to, I guess, get closer, start to like reignite my faith and start, getting closer to God. And then even then, like spiritual warfare is ongoing all the time, and you just always got to have your shield and your guard up because it's never gonna let
like the devil will try to get you when you're at your highest of high, and you'll think like, okay, I'm good, I'm groovy, like we're chilling, we're out here, but then all of a sudden you get smacked in the face with like something. I don't know.
Literally. Well, I was gonna ask you like what, because I know we don't have time to go through all your testimony, but what was like the moment where you really were like, all right, I'm like recommitting to be on this path?
I got tired of being tired, girl. That's the truth. I mean, I just got tired of like.
And when was that? Do you like an estimate by like a year?
I honestly don't know. I can't tell. I don't know.
Was it like it was before? Obviously. Before him.
Before him. I don't know.
Was there something that triggered it, or like what were you tired of?
I got tired of feeling like I was just being abused by the things of the world. Mm-hmm. So like alcohol, coming home Sunday night, you know, after drinking, having to go to work, and then kind of going out that night again, and then doing that thing, and then just kind of doing that. My parents were always like, Mija, you know what's right, what's wrong. You shouldn't be doing these things, you know. But my dad always told me, he's like, listen, I've instilled to you what you need to know and what is the right way of living and what the devil's trying to do. And he's trying to kill, steal, and destroy your life. And if you're going to allow him to do that, you're going to learn the hard way. He's like, I've taught you, I've shown you. He's pretty much like, you're going to do what you want to do. And if you want to learn por las malas, pues por las malas vas a aprender. Yeah. And so, yeah.
And you're like, and I did.
And I did. I really did. I really, really did. But I mean, I think it was just because I was still going, even though I was raving and stuff, I was still going to church every Sunday. So every Sunday I was going to church. I was playing the piano. I was playing the drums. I was part of the worship. And in my heart, I always felt like I shouldn't be on stage right now. I shouldn't be on stage singing and doing all the things, because I'm not representing God how I should, like I wasn't.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But
life took a turn, and then I started wanting to do the growth. And then I think that's around the time that I met you. And I think after that, life's been good. I don't have complaints.
Yeah, it's been like a journey of ups and downs, but I feel like that tying it in with like personal development. I guess the cool part about your story is that you got the Bible as a foundation, and then you got introduced to like the whole personal development mentality growth thing. So whereas
that was even with that I had a hard time with, and I know like I was like affirmations, what?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You're lucky because you got to take the best and leave the rest. Like you were able to discern, like, well, that's depending on your own strength, and that's on your own desires, like what you want to fulfill, right? And so whether only like whether you fell into it or not, but I think it's cool that you got to get you had the foundation of the Bible, because at the end of the day, a lot of the personal development stuff is just counterfeit Bible stuff,
for sure,
like Proverbs and like Ecclesiastes and all of that. So. And so so you got to do that, and now you're a wife.
I'm a mother.
A whole wife, a whole mother, a whole friend, and you're gonna get back on the podcast and really, because I want to like get deep. I already have questions, but I know we don't got time, so I'm just like trying to contain myself. But I guess like here, what is something that you want to tell people right now?
God is good all the time.
If he ain't, she always then says you lying. She's a rapper too. She's a part-time rapper.
Stop! I haven't rapped in a long time.
Let's throw the Kendrick Lamar beats, because she would, dude. We would literally do that. We would just put on YouTube Kendrick Lamar beats or just random beats, and she'd be like,
I have one of you rapping him dead. I have it.
I do not play that.
I was about to say.
What did I say? What would I say?
Feeling good. Yeah. That's all you're saying.
That's all I was saying.
And then you're like,
did I go off?
Getting water. Yeah. And you're like really feeling it, bro. I have to send it to you.
I swore I was popping off.
I have to send it to you. And then after that, you get up and you're like...
Dude, honestly, we have some of, like, the times where you're crying and because you're laughing so hard and your stomach hurts. That's what we do. Yeah, we'll have to. Maybe I can play that for my intro song.
Okay, let me find it.
Low key, get it, and I'm gonna have my friend that's a DJ is making the intro song. Maybe he can like remix part of it. Only the real ones will know. People are playing the pod and they're like, "What the heck?" And
Better listen, listen closely.
Listen closely. Anyways, all right.
But honestly, you're gonna go through your trials, whatever it is. Always stay grounded in the Word. Always pray. Always ask God for guidance. Always, tell him to open your eyes, open your heart, use you, all the things, because if you're just kind of like going in blindly, the world's going to take you by the waves that crash and they roll you away and you get lost in the sea. But, yeah, that's all I got. That's my sprinkle of Jesus.
That's all I got for now. I love you.
I love you.
Hey, a little warm up? A little warm up?
A little warm up.
That was a little warm
Little
up.
jam. Okay, let's squat. Is that what you're doing? You about to squat? I'm just kidding.